Close your eyes for a moment. Now imagine you're standing alone in a room. No phone, no lamp, no streetlight bleeding through the curtain, just nothing. Pure black. What happens in your chest? Most people feel it immediately. A tightening, a pull, some kind of awareness that something might be there, even when they know nothing is. You're an adult, you understand physics, you know darkness is simply the absence of light. But your brain? Your brain is running software that was written 2 million years ago, and it did not get the update. To understand why you fear the dark, you need to go back, way back, to the African savannah roughly 2 million years ago. Our ancestors didn't have fire yet. They didn't have walls. They didn't have locked doors or motion sensor lights. What they had was night. And night, for most of human prehistory, was extremely dangerous. Leopards are nocturnal. So are hyenas. Lions do most of their hunting between midnight and dawn. The darkness wasn't just uncomfortable, it was statistically lethal. Researchers argue that humans weren't the apex predators of prehistory. We were prey. Prey animals that relaxed in the dark, that didn't stay alert, that slept out in the open without fear, didn't survive long enough to have children. The ones who did survive, the ones whose bodies jolted awake at a sound, whose hearts raced when visibility dropped to zero, whose brains screamed, something is out there, even when there wasn't. Those are your ancestors. You are descended from the ones who were afraid. So, what exactly happens in your brain when the lights go out? It starts with the amygdala, a small almond shaped structure buried deep in your brain that acts as your threat detection system. The amygdala doesn't think, it reacts. The moment your visual input drops, the amygdala shifts into hypervigilance mode. Your senses sharpen, your hearing becomes more acute, your muscles tense. Your body literally prepares for an attack that isn't coming. At the same time, your brain does something fascinating and slightly terrifying. It starts filling in the darkness with possibilities. This is called pattern recognition, and it's one of the most powerful features of the human brain. We are pattern detection machines. We evolved to see faces in shadows, movement in stillness, threats in ambiguity. Because in the ancestral environment, it was always safer to assume the shadow was a predator and be wrong than to assume it was nothing and be eaten. This is why you see shapes in the dark that aren't there. This is why a pile of clothes on a chair at 3 in the morning looks like a figure. Your brain is running a threat detection algorithm and it is set to maximum sensitivity. Then, roughly 400,000 years ago, something changed. Humans began to control fire. This was arguably the most transformative event in human history. Fire gave us warmth, cooked food, community, and light. For the first time, we could push the darkness back. Researchers who study the Ju-Huansi people of the Kalahari found something remarkable. Their daytime conversations were dominated by practical matters food, work, conflict. But nighttime conversations around the fire? They were full of stories, mythology, imagination. Darkness, mediated by firelight, became the birthplace of human narrative. But here's the thing 400,000 years is not very long in evolutionary terms. Our genes hadn't caught up. The fear hadn't been removed from the code. It had simply been managed. Take the fire away, the ancient program boots right back up. Today we call extreme fear of the dark nyctophobia, from the Greek word nyx meaning night. Clinical psychologists estimate that between 11 and 40% of adults experience significant fear of the dark, though most never seek treatment because the condition is so normalized. But here's the part that should make you rethink everything. Even people who aren't phobic show measurable physiological responses to darkness. A study found that simply anticipating darkness, just thinking about being in the dark, elevated heart rate and cortisol levels in participants. Your body treats expected darkness almost the same as experienced darkness. The threat is not real, the response is completely real. So, the next time you feel that familiar unease when the lights go out, that irrational awareness, that unnecessary scan of the room, it means your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do keep you alive in a world where something might be hunting you. We've inherited the fears of every ancestor who made it through the night. And because they were afraid, because they stayed alert, stayed vigilant, stayed just uncomfortable enough to survive, you are here. You get to be afraid of the dark. It means you come from a very long line of survivors.